Alrighty, for the recording, this is round 4 of Fight Night 4. This is the last round of Swiss. Here on table 4, we have Tombot in the top seat and Jack Ding in the bottom seat, battling it out for a spot in top 4. It should be a clean win and in, but I think there is some funkiness that could happen. But otherwise, good luck. You guys can start whenever you're ready. I believe this is bots versus Reanimator, I think. Tom deciding not to bring cats to a real event. No companions here. Tom's mulling to 6. Pretty classic Tom bot strategy. Mulligan to a functional / broken hand. Wouldn't be surprised if he goes to 5 or 4 here. But if he stops at 6, that's going to be quite good. It's going to be a lot of resources. Leads with a probe. Sees Island, Sewers, Darkrit, Necromancy, Scalding Tarn, Consider, and a Vamp Tutor. Okay. Well, there's a lot that can happen there. Can he hit a turn 1? I don't think so. Yeah, I don't think so. So Tom should get 2 turns. I just thought Sage Hamish and saw a Ravenloft. Oh, I missed a Ravenloft? My bad. He's on Jund, and I didn't see any of the red ones. Yeah, he doesn't have Caves of Chaos Adventurer. That's not my fault. There is 1 initiative creature across the whole event. That's crazy. So Jack taking a passive line here. Scalding Tarn go. Not playing the Sewers heavily suggests that he's going to fire off the Vamp Tutor here. There's a few things he can get. I think Entomb plus Darkrit plus Necromancy plus an Island gets him a threat next turn. So Tom has to do something this turn or have a misstep. I'm pretty sure. Fomori Vault into something good. Grim, okay. Grim's good. Grim into Fleshraker? Okay, well, I mean, Fleshraker's pretty scary. Into Mopal. Notably, does not have Metalcraft. Does get damage, does get a mana. If the token can cast a 1-drop, then the Mopal can be on. Doesn't look like it. Okay. Well, here we go. I would be shocked if there is not a Vamp Tutor on this deck. There is! That's crazy. I would be shocked if this Vamp Tutor doesn't get Entomb. And then I will be shocked if there is not an Atraxa in play next turn. Island, Darkrit, Entomb. That's crazy. Entomb Atraxa? Could be Valgavoth, I guess. Much of a muchness. Gets a Valgavoth Necromancy? That's crazy. It's crazy how she can simply see these things coming. So either Jack doesn't need the cards in hand off Atraxa, or values the ward and suspects that Tom might have an answer to a large creature. Or drew the Atraxa on the first turn, which is the only turn he could have drawn it, which is why it was Valgavoth instead. It's one of those things. One of those several things. So now we have a Saga getting something. And we have a Fleshraker in play. We have a tap Monolith. We have Zomopal that makes mana. We've tapped the rest of our mana. And we're against a 9/9 flying lifelinker. Playing bots. 2-turn clock. I think I've seen Tom win these. That's yeah, that's not how that works. I guess we're just taking the Talon Gates for mana. I mean, we have access to 4 mana. If we can do some stuff. Like, Valgavoth is a 2-turn clock and doesn't threaten to do anything. So I believe it's possible that there are some things that Tom can do here. Night Scythe gets us a bit of mana, gets us an artifact count for the construct token. I don't know that Tom can get to 23 here. What was Jack's hand? It was like a Consider, a Surveil land, and a something random. I mean, he's just going to try and ride this Valgavoth, but it's probably going to get there. Night Scythe does let you block for a turn, so it's 3 turns to find it out. And I mean, the damage that Jack would take on the crackback is not insignificant. It's a lot of damage. Playing Urza Saga off the Valgavoth, just to hit a untapped mana, I guess. Or to make blockers, probably more likely. So Tom goes to 9. He's going to either have to gain life, clear Valgavoth, or chump next turn. Jace, Rin's Prodigy, doesn't really change the board texture. I mean, a little bit. There are definitely some spells that Jace can cast. Probably mainly Entomb. Okay, so Tom has access to 5, 6 mana without a land drop this turn. It's a lot. He only has 2 cards in hand, which is a big deal. So he might have to activate Fimori Vault and hope. Serum Powder, make a spawn token. Into Fimori Vault. Nettle Cyst. Oh, that's a lot of damage. The construct's an 8/8, which means Nettle Cyst will also pump for 8. If you can crew the Night Scythe, I don't think it's lethal. 11? 19? I think you can force the Jace to chump, which doesn't do it, right? Wow, the Jace being able to chump mattered this much. Because if you crew the Night Scythe, sack 2 spawns to equip to get flying. It's 11 points in the air. And then you have 10 points on the ground. So you need to force the chump. Which doesn't actually force the chump. So that you can block with Night Scythe. I don't know if it's good enough. It's pretty good, but I don't know if it's good enough. If there wasn't a Jace, I'm pretty sure he died. That's crazy. So next turn, we're trying to chump with Night Scythe on Valgavoth. He goes to 22. We lose the Night Scythe, which shrinks our Nettle Cyst and our Saga token. If nothing changes, this is actually very close. Because Jack can also just play the Night Scythe here. Like, he knows it's a forced block. He can just play the Night Scythe and get a guy. And it'll give him a blocker. This is crazy close. Considering that there was a 9/9 lifelinker in play on turn 2, this is shockingly close. Alright. So we have to block. We get to block. Emerald goes to 22. Eats the Night Scythe with Valgavoth. And then you can either play Night Scythe or activate Saga, or play another spell. I think he's probably making a 2/2. No, he's making an Oculus. That gives you 2 blockers as opposed to 1. Wait, what? Oh, you pay life rather than the mana cost. I thought you spent the mana. I have never gotten that far down on Valgavoth's line of text. There's way too much text on that card. Also, notably, Valgavoth, another Dustmon card. I think there have been like 11 or 12 unique Dustmon cards in today's event. And I believe also 0 foundations, which is a little sad. We're activating for Morivolt. What'd we find? Thran Spider does have reach. We are once again not dead. We get to trim the board down by attacking. But if we attack wrong, we die. This is so close. Considering how this game started with the turn 2 Valgavoth, this is so crazy. And notably as well, Thran Spider is not a great thing to cast off Valgavoth. Like, you'll cast it for 3 life, but it'll give Tom another Power Stone token, which could matter very easily. Heads up play there, blocking with Night Scythe because it leaves you your creature, and having the Night Scythe without the creature is kind of pointless. So Emerald's going to get an Urza Saga trigger. I assume it's just a bauble. That's a petal, sure. 5, 5-ish mana? 6-ish mana? Could be a couple of things. We're also getting to a point where Tom just has enough spare permanents that if he can find an answer to Valgavoth, he can pay the ward cost. He has a spare monolith that he's already had for a while. Spare spawn token, spare power stone token. If this brainstorm bricks, like obviously, if he finds an answer to Thran Spider, it's just over. But if he doesn't, and the brainstorm is bricked, and he doesn't have a way to shuffle, we're gonna get at least another turn. Jack's going to be able to cast a Thran Spider. He might not. Does give him a blocker. Forest Cycle, Generous Ent, sure. Just get it into the bin and shuffle. That's good. Brainstorm plus Generous Ent. If he hit another cantrip, he can keep looking. Gets a mortuary. Gets yet another look. So I would assume Jack has some kind of cantrip. And he's digging for lethal here. Having the pedal means that push is live. There's the Preordain. He did have a cantrip. And he topped with Mortuary. So I'm assuming this is a push or a drown and the game's over. Right? Or a snuff out. Bone Man? Okay. Not too inspired. I guess it gives him a blocker. So Thran Spider, force block. Tom goes to 4, so now he's dead to both of the flyers. I think Jack doesn't cast Thran Spider. Grows the construct, grows the nettle cyst. No, he does. Okay. 3 blockers. Okay. Tom has a Fomori Vault and gets to look at 700 cards this turn. I don't know what he can find. He probably has some kind of out. This is a crazy game. The fact that we're on turn 6 and we've had so many combats that have had at least 10 power in play. I don't know what this Vault can hit. Maybe like a Shadow Spear? Because you can't get a chump blocker now. That's not going to do it. You can't get a removal spell. That's not going to do it. Khan the Great Creator. Is this getting Shadow Spear? I think so. I don't know if it's in his main or his sideboard. That'll gain a lot of life. So if Shadow Spear's on the board, you can sack a token to cast it. That gives you another token so you can equip. You can attack for 12 with lifelink, puts you to 16. Not dead to flyers. Yeah, Shadow Spear's on the side. Okay. We're still going. So you equip to the Necron. 13, you got a 17. 14 in the air. Means 2 ground guys kill you. But if you attack with both of these, you eat one of the ground guys. I can't tell if this gets him out. I don't think it does. I don't think it does. $17, taking 14 in the air, down to 3. I think you just turn everything sideways. Right? That looks like lethal to me. This is a crazy game. We're on turn 6. There was a turn 2 Valgavoth that went completely unanswered. Makes a generous ent. Notably makes a food token that can't be activated because of Khan the Great Creator. So it's a real heads up play to have the Khan in play to stop the food token from getting cracked. I think that's going to be it. Yeah. GG's. Emerald gonna take game 1 against Ulmasu. So Jack is up a game against Tom now. Thinking about sideboarding, I would expect not a significant amount of sideboarding from Jack's side of things. He's probably got like a Null Rod. Yeah, he's got a Null Rod and Energy Flux and Oof, some other stuff. And I would expect Tom will be bringing in some graveyard hate, like a Crypt or whatever. It's got a Crypt, a Cage, some other stuff, a Hearse. Okay. So these post-board games are really going to come down to sideboard cards. If they both draw some of their sideboard cards, I think I would give the edge to Tom, I think. Because he just has more stuff and less bricks. But at the same time, Jack's build of this Reanimator deck has a few more mid-rangey cards, as we can see in Oculus here. I think there's a Frog in there as well. So it's possible he can circumvent the graveyard, but it's also possible that Tom can circumvent a Null Rod with like a Workshop or an Academy, so it's gonna be tight. I'm gonna reload Moto and make sure that this works. I don't want to miss a game. Just bear with me a moment, chat. How's everyone doing? Hopefully everyone's having a fun Sunday watching some Magic. If you're in chat and spectating and you've been enjoying the event, please shout out and sound off in the chat. It really does help with engagement and making sure that everyone is suitably entertained. I would like to make sure that everyone's having a good time. Both in the event and out of it. We got a Lizard Pogchamp? Hell yeah. Thanks, Dr. V. Alright, let's hop back into that game. Alright, so this is game 2. Tombot in the top seat here is on the play and is down a game. We've got bots versus Reanimator. And there we go. That is the first sideboard card. We're going to count them together, chat. Urza's Tower suggests that Tom kept this hand off the back of a cage and maybe another sideboard card, because that is easily one of the weakest lands he could be leading with here. So it's very noteworthy, and I imagine that's something that Jack has picked up on. City as the follow-up, so very unlikely Tom has another land in hand. So I think he's kept this off the back of cage almost exclusively. Let's see if it's good enough. Void Walker. Alright. Notably, Void Walker is in the side. That is 2 sideboard cards. So, Void Walker here. Interesting that it's being brought in. I imagine it's so he can... Maybe he just has enough air in the main deck. He wants to shave down on some of the graveyard stuff. And Void Walker is a real threat. Like, if you assume that your opponent has graveyard hate and you have artifact hate, Void Walker is an interesting card. Oh, he didn't have nothing. He had a Kozilek's Command for 1. So Tom's going to have access to 5 mana next turn, at a minimum. Or 4 mana at a minimum. 5 if he plays a land that makes 1 mana. But he does have 4 lands in his deck at this point that would make more than 1 mana. Bauble, probably to grow a... No, not to grow an academy. Bauble going under the Void Walker here. Not saving the Bauble for Mopal and Academy tells us that Tom's hand is probably quite weak here. And he's looking for action. City of Traders. He might be using this mana to crack the cave. He is. Oh boyo. Okay. But he didn't get Academy. He's getting Saga. Okay. Pretty anemic board state now. The cage is stopping a lot of Jack's best plays. Tom's trying to develop some amount of mana. Going into turn 3 with 2 lands, one of which makes 1, one of which is going to blow up in a couple of turns. Jack has a 7-turn clock. Brainstorm gets snap misstepped. I don't think there's anything you would want to Void Walker here. Bauble in some mana. So we're probably just going to start the 7-turn clock and see what happens, I guess. I wouldn't be surprised if there's like an oof or a null rod getting played. No. Okay. So Jack seemingly keeping this hand pretty light. Relic. Okay. I believe that is sideboard card number 3. Or is that in the main? It's in the main. Okay. It's hate piece number 3, but it's sideboard cards at 2. And Tom has an academy now. And he has a bunch of artifacts. So he's going to make a guy. He's going to untap and make a guy. I think Tom's pretty heavily favored here, right? Unless this is like a deluge or something. No, not a deluge, like an energy flux. Oculus? Okay. That's pretty big. Is Oculus going to be enough against some massive Saga tokens? I don't know if it will be. Might make enough chump blockers to get there with Voidwalker though. Because Voidwalker is representing 5 turns. And it's feasible to think that it'll just keep attacking until the game's over. Because nothing that's been exiled on a Voidwalker is worth casting. History Gutter, it's not pointed, so it's bad. Evoke a Grief, pitching a Reanimate. Okay. Well, if this Grief tags something big, we can turn on the Voidwalker. That could work. Voidwalker plus Grief is an old modern combo that got banned out. So it's nice to see that it's back. Hits a con! That's a big deal. Do you just slam the con? Can you even protect it? I guess you have to, right? You can blow up the bauble. This is gonna get real weird. This is gonna get real weird. If Jack wants to, he can have a Khan the Great Creator against bots. Or against shops. That's a pretty big deal. Cypher says, just lost to Richard's turn 1 Citadel, turn 2 combo off. Turn 3 put me in the dirt. Rip. Yeah, Okay, so now this game is... Jack has a Khan the Great Creator in play against shops. Tom will have 2 Saga tokens. He might crack his bauble in his relic just to draw cards before Khan goes away. Or before Khan hits the field. Yeah, he's just going to dig. He's just going to rip through them. His Saga tokens are going to be real anemic then. So the Oculus and the tokens are presumably going to protect this Khan. And he's just... Tom's just got to beat through it. It's possible. I mean, when I said about the hate thing, like, Shops is really powerful because it has the ability to fight through Null Rod. And despite Jack siding in 2 Null Rods, the Null Rod that he has in play is his opponent's, which I think is very cute and pretty goofy. That's how that works? Oculus doesn't make creatures through Grafdigger's Cage? Oh, I didn't know that was how that worked. Okay. So Tom has to draw an artifact, right? We know he had a shop in hand, and he's drawn a relic card, a bauble card, and a card for turn. And he's gonna try and eat this Khan. I didn't know Oculus didn't make guys under Grafdigger's Cage. And you know what? I guarantee none of you knew that interaction before today. I guarantee it. Alabaster, I guess, manifests the creatures entering from the... Yeah! Because I guess when they're getting manifested, they're coming from... Goalless getting Talon Gates for Oculus! He cleared the Khan immediately! And then he gets to untap Academy and keep going. He might not have much more. Okay. This all of a sudden is a lot worse. So. So Jack cast a Khan the Great Creator. And at the time, Tom had 3 artifacts in play and a 0/1 spawn token. And he played a Khan and an Oculus. And at the end of Tom's turn, the Khan was dead. He had played 4 more permanents. He had made his full 2 construct tokens. And he had an active Academy and Workshop. It was a big turn. Alright, that's game 2. GG's. We're going to get a game 3. Jack is going to have the play. Let's see if this time he casts a Null Rod that he actually sided in. And not a Null Rod that his opponent is playing as a combo piece. This format is whack. That's crazy. I want to stress as well that at some point in that game, Tom made 2 mana with City of Traders, played an Urza's Cave, blowing up the city, and then using that 2 mana and another mana to blow up the cave to get an Urza Saga. And that Urza Saga snap won him the game. That's mental. That's so cool. Alright, back to it. We're going to game 3. Jack's going to have the play now. We've already seen 2 sideboard cards this match. I think Jack's going to have to find some of the better sideboard cards. There's a Null Rod, an Oof, and an Energy Flux. That are the big ones. Shop's God. I mean, he's the Shop's guy. I'm never going to take that away from him. Turn 1 Sol Ring. Gets through! Mox Opal, go? Map. Crack map? Okay. That's a turn 1. That's a turn 1. However, it could just be untap Null Rod you. He gets Academy. He's going to play around the Null Rod. Okay. That's a pretty good one. I mean, Pay costs Swarm Cycle. Okay. Notably, Tom has spent his first turn getting Academy and developing his mana to play around Narod, but did not develop a hate piece. So it's possible that Jack just goes Darkrit, Reanimate, Land, Narod, go. Chump has followed. Thanks for the follow, Chump. Welcome to Volty's room. Bizarre activate. Okay. Darkrit, Reanimate, Narod still on the table. At which point, Tom will lose the Sol Ring mana, get the Academy mana, but be facing down a troll. And that might just be good enough. Bizarre as opposed to a way to develop mana is interesting. Grizzlebrand, Valgavoth, Polluted Delta. Thoughtseize you. Tolarian Academy, Thran Spider, or Drowsy Confluence, Blast Zone, and Scrolling Crawler. Tom doesn't have Graveyard Hate. He hasn't found any. He kept this off the back of a lot of mana and an Academy to beat Narod. And it's possible that Jack has kept a slower hand that could favorably interact with Hate, but not favorably interact with Tolarian Academy. This could get real weird. It's possible that our double combo deck final game features 0 sideboard cards, and that they've both decided to just ship it and try and get there with their main plan. Okay. I mean, Jack could just have a pedal. He doesn't have anything. He doesn't have a pedal. He's just saying go. Tom gets to untap with a Sol Ring and an Academy, but he doesn't have anything to do with it. He just has random idiot creatures. Eldrazi Confluence has very little text in this situation. It doesn't have no text, but it's really close. I mean, you can use it to kill Grizzlebrand. The Thoughtseize took Scrolling Crawler as well. It's fine, he's just going to draw non-stop bombs. I don't know about that. We've had Tombot on coverage many times. He sometimes does not get there. Blast Zone Thran Spider go? Didn't develop the Academy because of something. Okay. Jack plays the C that we know about from Troll. He has a Bazaar online. He has 2 mana. But there is not a Graveyard Hate piece. He can do something. Dance of the Dead Grizzlebrand. Okay. Is he gonna try and draw 14? If you hit Petal, Darkrit, you can maybe get Valgavoth in play. If you draw 7, your Grizzlebrand dies to Eldrazi Confluence. I guess that's why we took Scrolling Crawler. Because the plan was to animate Grizzlebrand and not Valgavoth. And Tom does have the spare permanence to chuck at Valgavoth. Grief pitching Psychic Rogue. This is going to tag the Eldrazi Confluence, which is not castable off Temple Mobile. Casting the Thran Spider might cost him. Because now he doesn't have an answer for Griselbrand. Tom's hand is Treasure Vault, Tolarian Academy. That's it. He has mana. He can tick up the Blast Zone, so he can blow up the Dance of the Dead. But there's no way that's going to be good enough. Oh, that's right. Thran Spider is a thing. I totally forgot it had a thing. Okay. Okay. So he has 4 mana to play an artifact? Did he whiff? What happened? You remember? Oh my god, he whiffed! His hand is Treasure Vault. He gets to tick up Blast Zone. Jack can pay 2 to untap the Griselbrand. And then crack in for 8. I don't know if Power Stone can pay for Dance of the Dead. I feel like it can. Nope. Okay. So he gets to crack in for 8, which gains him 8. I'm almost certain it should be able to, but it's possible Moto is just terrible. Yeah, like that's gonna matter. It's almost certainly gonna matter. So he can Bazaar. I assume he's found a red at some point. If he can rid out a Null Rod? No, but the Blast Zone checks that. We're just going to put a Valgavoth in play. I mean, Blast Zone can't blow up Necromancy and Dance of the Dead. So we just get to stick a thing through Blast Zone. Go to clean up for 1,000,000. I mean, I don't know what's going to happen here. It's got to be too little too late, right? We can get rid of the Griselbrand. But then how do we beat the Valgavoth? I mean, Tom almost beat Valgavoth game 1, so it's entirely possible. And there isn't a Null Rod in play. Like, Jack has 17 power of flying life-linking threat. But Tom has access to, like, 19 mana this turn. I don't know what's going to happen. I don't know what's going to happen. If he has to flip off Thran Spider, he's probably not getting there. But he might. But he rolled a bauble, so he's got fresh draws here. Candelabra. He has so much mana. Oh, it gets misstepped. That means he probably has to roll the Thran Spider, right? Unless? I mean, he's also not dead. If he pops Blast Zone, he goes to 3. I don't know what's gonna happen. This is so tense. This is so tense. 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So we can roll Transpider and pop Blast Zone, but we wouldn't be able to cast anything we hit off the Transpider. Okay, we clear the Grizzlebrand. We have 2 mana left. Are we just rolling Transpider? Plating. Does plating mean we can block? I think it does, right? Oh my god, we can block! No, we can't. We can block next turn. We're 1 short from Treasure Vault. I think if Tom cracked Treasure Vault for 2 before tapping Academy, he could have forced the chump. Now there's a Null Rod in play. Okay. And an Energy Flux? Oh my god, what is happening? That's gotta be it, right? That's gotta be it. There's no way you get out of this. You're 6 mana. You can save 3 things. One of which has to be Transpider to block. Is that right? Null Rod Energy Flux just straight up slammed. The Power Stone token got to make mana for Null Rod because it's an artifact before immediately turning off forever. That's crazy. And then you just pay for Null Rod and that's it? This was an insane game. Missing that Treasure Vault line, it literally was the difference. Well, not to an extent. If he did do that, he would have been able to force the chump with Valgavoth. That just means there isn't a Valgavoth in play. There isn't a Transpider in play. But the Transpider doesn't live. At which point, Jack untaps, plays Null Rod, plays Energy Flux, and blows up all your board. So there'd just be like a bunch more game that gets played where Tom is attempting to operate under a Null Rod and an Energy Flux. GG's. That was crazy. Emerald Dream wins 2-1 against Venerable Amasu.